You know, more than anything else, I just want to matter. I just want to make a difference. This is what my buddy Romy Camargo said to me some years ago. He was a Green Beret, great friend of mine, served with me in 7th Special Forces Group, multiple tours to Afghanistan, and he was shot through the neck in Afghanistan, gravely wounded, quadriplegic on a ventilator, and he and his wife, Gabby, fought an amazing recovery over a period of years where he had cutting-edge stem cell surgery. He taught himself how to breathe again during the day. He managed to get out of the hospital and live at home with his family to raise his children. And then he and his wife opened a nonprofit spinal cord injury rehab center right here in Tampa, Florida. All of these things were things that people said he could not do, that he'd never be able to do. You know, and again, the resistance, the voices in the head, it would have been easy to listen to that, but Romy didn't for one reason, his purpose. And that's the real topic of this 4th of 6 episodes on rooftop leadership mindset, is the power and the pursuit of purpose. It's such a critical aspect for leaders. You know, in military operations, when we give what we call commander's intent, so if I'm a commander and I give my intent to my guys in a written order, 2 things that the mission statement must contain, task and purpose. Because what we've found in the military is that military men and women will get anything done in the world, regardless of how tough it is, regardless of how ambiguous or complex the situation. They'll get it done as long as they know the answer to one simple question: why? Human beings are meaning-seeking creatures. We want to matter. We want to know why. And that's just the way that it is. It's the way it's always been. And so when I define purpose here, I'm talking about the true north on your life's compass. I'm talking about the stuff that when your feet hit the ground in the morning, you feel it. You feel it in your gut, you feel it in your head, you feel it in your heart, your legs, your whole body. You know that you're on the path of that higher purpose that you were put on this earth to do. And we all have it. We all have that true north. The problem is that we have covered it up. You know, the enemies to our purpose, and this is key, they are internal and they are external. The internal enemy is obviously resistance. Once again, Stephen Pressfield's coined term of that inner force that stands between us and our higher purpose and punching above our weight to achieve that higher purpose. Resistance is such a powerful thing. It's that head chatter. It's the ways that we cut our own knees and take ourselves out of the game, tell ourselves we're not good enough, tell ourselves we don't have a story. Romy Camargo saying, I'm just a quadriplegic, I'll never be able to open a spinal cord injury center. If resistance had won, that center would never existed, and the number of people that are being treated there today would never have happened. Right? Romy's son, Andres, would never have had his dad around because he would have given up. Right? That's what I'm talking about. The enemy, you know, to purpose is resistance. On the outside, there are enemies as well. The rat race, the daily cycle that we go through, that gerbil on a wheel, to satisfy the man, to go to the job, to do what society wants us to do, right? All of those things, that's the rat race, very powerful. And then finally, the churn. This is the loss of trust in the in-group and out-group dynamics and behavior that goes on to fight against that, right? I will tell you that my book, Mission America, that I wrote to help warriors come home from military service, I wrote that out of purpose. I felt like coming out of 23 years in the military, almost 23 years, I'd lost my purpose. And so I wrote that book so that I could bring purpose back into my life. And it really did that. So for me, it was even just writing a book helped me reconnect to that purpose. So here's what I'd like you to do. I'd like you to go to some place sacred. And you'll always hear me talk about sacred places. You need those places where you can go off the grid a little bit and just get deep on yourself and reflect. And I'd really like you to do a eulogy exercise. I'd like you to think about it being, you know, the day of your funeral and you've passed on, and the person who loves you, who held your hand when you took your last breath, is talking about you in the eulogy and what you stood for. What would they say? What would the purpose be? You know, some of you have heard me talk about this in Leaving Tracks, where that person who held your hand in your last moments actually talks about the impact that you made, the tracks you left behind in the earth. Similar thing. But do an exercise like that, because what you'll find if you'll do that, if you'll open your heart up to that, to begin with the end in mind, as Stephen Covey said, you'll find that you can define your purpose, that you can get clear on what your purpose is. And listen, guys, when a leader is clear on their purpose, that's when we follow them to the rooftop. That's when we believe in them. That's when we do whatever it takes. We run through walls with them because they are operating on why. They're clear on their why. And like Simon Sinek said, people buy why you do something, not what you do, right? If you haven't seen that video, we'll put that in the link. You absolutely got to watch this, all right? So really work on getting clear on your purpose. And the other thing is, this never ends. We should always spend our life reflecting on our purpose. And guess what? You're going to come off the path. You're going to make mistakes. And when that happens, don't worry about it. Just right the ship, as Bo Eason says, and get back to your purpose. It's what we're supposed to do. Now, my last little plug here in the PS, you heard me talk about the Mission America book at missionamericabook.com. If you haven't read that book, if you are a veteran, a family member of a veteran, or you know a veteran, you should check this book out because it really goes a long way to helping us understand the challenges of transition. We even talk a lot in there about purpose. If you're a civilian who's never served, my chapter on purpose and passion will help you. All right, so check that book out. All proceeds go back to our veterans and getting more books in their hands. So thanks for what you do. Get clear on your purpose, and I'll see you on the high ground.